everybody, it's Ike and
Christine, hi.
And we're back, episode 44. It's been a long break.
It's been a very long break.
I think it's been 3 or 4 months since we've done a video. There's just too much going on.
It really is.
Plus, you don't even know we're around. You're finally back.
Yeah, finally.
Hopefully for a while. Anyway, we're back by popular demand.
Yeah.
I've had a bunch of emails saying, when are you going to put your next video? And when I say a bunch of emails, like 5.
It's like 2.
But we appreciate those 5. Thank you very much.
Those 5 matter to us.
Shout outs go to our usual bunch, Chris Huff and Larry Lawson in Florida. Looking forward to hearing from you guys here fairly soon. Beer challenge today.
Yes.
We have to bring the beer challenge back. It's that time.
Ooh.
This is a weird one.
Let's get a good old zoom in on this. Oh yeah. Look at this bad boy.
Kilt lifter. Okay, let's give it a shot. Yeah, that sounds pretty good.
It's been so long since I've had alcohol. I almost forgot what it tasted like.
It tastes malty and toasted.
It's actually pretty good. I like it.
It's not bad. At least it's not an IPA.
Yes, please. Yeah, no more IPAs. I wouldn't say it's my favorite, but it's not bad.
It's pretty good. Scale?
7 or an 8. I'll give it a 7.5.
I'm going to give it a 6.
Really? That low?
My standards have risen.
Fair. This is my first beer in a long time.
Liar.
My standards are very low.
Anyway, this is a story that happened. It's not really law enforcement related, but it's another one that kind of makes you wonder what's really going on. This happened to me when I was, I think, 17. So I first moved, when we first moved to the town of Los Lunas in New Mexico, which is probably 60 miles southwest of where I'm now. I had a cousin, and my cousin's name was Sammy, and he was a Vietnam vet. This was probably 1980, so it wasn't all that long ago for him. And Vietnam had definitely changed him quite a bit. But we hung out a lot together, and he was twice my age. I'm not quite twice my age. I think he was 30, 29, somewhere in there. And I was, I think, 17. But me and he would always go out shooting and stuff. He had an endless supply of firearms and ammunition, so of course I hung out with him because we'd always go out shooting. So he takes me on a ride one time when we go up to this hill, and for you flatlanders, you'd probably call it a mountain. But it's called the Las Lunas Hill. It's a giant volcanic plug, and it's huge. It's not very tall, but it's spread out. It's a good size hill.
Yeah, it's a decent hill.
You could hike on there for a long time, and you'd be surprised how big it is. Look it up. I'll add some pictures to this video so you kind of get an idea what I'm talking about. And we were back there hiking around, and he says, I need to show you something. And I'm like, all right, so we go hiking. So you could only drive to a certain place, and then you'd have to get out and walk. And we walked and walked and walked, and it seemed like we took forever to walk. And we're on this gradual incline. It's probably 20 degree incline. And it gets a little steeper, and the terrain is sandy desert with the occasional pinon pine and cedar trees. And we come to a place where it's leveled out, and it's probably halfway up the mountain. And it's probably a 30-foot section it was going up, and then it straightened out for about 30 feet, and then it started up really steep. And we get to this leveled out area, and there's these 2 huge volcanic boulders, pitch black, volcanic rock. One of them is standing kind of tall, almost the size of a school bus. If you took a school bus and stood it up.
That's a big rock.
Oh yeah, they were huge. And the other one was egg-shaped, and it's laying directly next to it. So one's tall, and one of them's laying next to it, kind of like an egg shape almost. About the same size of a bus. And he goes, I got to show you this. And that's what Sammy said. So we walk around the entire boulder. You could walk around behind it and stuff, and it's just a big giant rock. And they were probably about 10 feet apart. They weren't touching each other. They were about 10 feet apart. And you go in between them, and if you look carefully, there was a hole in the ground. And this hole was probably 4 foot by 6 foot, not a big hole. And he goes, there's a cave underneath this thing. And I'm like, wow, being 17 years old, hell yeah. So he goes, I want you to go down there and check it out. And I'm like, what?
Well, that seems like a great idea.
And I explained later why he was so intent on this kind of stuff, you know, checking out caves and stuff. So looking down in this hole, you could see it was about 7 foot deep, and it had a bottom. And because the rock is black, it's volcanic rock, you can't really see really well. So I jumped down in this hole, and now I'm standing in this 7 foot hole. There's, you know, there's about a foot of rim above me, and I tell him, I can't see shit. It's pitch dark. You know, we should have brought a flashlight or something. And he goes, well, I didn't really intend to come out here and show you this today, so we're totally unprepared. So he throws me his little Zippo lighter, because he was a smoker. He goes, here, use this for light. So he tosses me his lighter, I catch it, and I light the little Zippo lighter. And it's not like the movies. It's not like when you light this little flame, the entire place lights up.
No.
It really doesn't do crap.
You have to hold it very close to something for it to light it up.
Exactly. But it made enough light for me to see that about 5 feet off the ground, just below my head, was an opening.
That's spooky.
So I get down on my knees and I stick my hand in there, and the flame starts flickering. It's kind of windy and it's ice cold. I mean, the air coming out, there was like refrigerated air. This was summertime, and it gets pretty hot down in that area. This was ice cold air. I'm down on my knees, I stick my head in there, and I can hear my voice because I'm talking to Sammy, because he's, what do you see, what do you see? And I could just hear these echoes. And I got so scared, something scared me so bad, I don't know what it was, but I literally started shaking. And I'm like, you gotta get me the hell out of here now. And I'm screaming at him, get me out of here, get me out of here. I don't know why, I just felt like the ground was gonna collapse, or I was gonna fall into the abyss, or it was really weird. There was obviously something very, very, very big behind me, or in this hole inside there. So being that it's 7 foot out, you know, I'm reaching up like, grab my hand, grab my hand, grab my hand. He's on his hands and knees, and he's trying to reach down. He barely managed to grab my fingers, and I scrambled back out. And he's like all excited, what'd you see, what'd you see? And I'm like, I didn't see anything, there's not enough light. He goes, well, we need to come back with flashlights and stuff. Now, to backpedal a little bit, Sammy, when he came back from Vietnam, became very, very interested in treasure hunting. And back in, you know, the turn of the late 70s, early 80s, there was a different atmosphere about that, as in far as looting and artifacts. And he used to always tell me, you know, I'm an amateur archaeologist. And I'm like, what the hell does that mean? And he goes, I just don't have a piece of paper or a degree that legally lets me steal and make money from the natives. And I'm like, well, whatever. And then later on in life, he actually got charged and convicted. Him and some of his army buddies were actually looting Native Americans' grounds for profit, selling pots and stuff. And
there's some irony.
He really went off the deep end and ended up getting shot and killed. Tragic. I mean, it was sad, but that's the kind of person he was. And there was a lot of people, that was really the atmosphere back in those days. I mean, there was people up in Santa Fe that would pay top dollar for Indian artifacts. Yeah. And there was a huge market for that back then. And I guess that's what he was into. But besides all that, you know, he never told me to come back or check it out again. He could tell that I was young and a little too blabbermouthy, I think. So about a year and a half goes by, and I think about that place again. I'm like, I need to go check this place out again. So a couple of my friends, high school buddies and me, we decided to go for a hike. I told them, I said, there's a cave up there in that mountain we need to check out. And of course, yeah, let's go. This time we were prepared. We bring flashlights, you know, a cheap rope. We didn't have climbing rope. It was some kind of Walmart rope. And of course our guns. You go anywhere without a gun in New Mexico. And it's a nice afternoon. I think it was like a Saturday or Sunday. And we park our cars and park our car, and we hike. And it's a long hike, and I can remember exactly how to get there. And we walk and walk and walk and walk, you know, and so it's a long ways. And we finally come to the place where it levels out. And immediately I noticed the two boulders and how different they look. Now we walk up to them, and the one that was standing upright is still there. The one that was laying on the side scooted up against the one that was standing up. There was no more gap. It was sealed. Now that's impossible.
Yeah, that's a very heavy object.
Well, there was no tracks. You know, there's nobody up there with a bulldozer or anything like that. And I don't even think a bulldozer could move that. The thing was huge.
No, that's
Massive
very heavy.
boulder.
That's very, very heavy rock.
It's like it was picked up, scooted over and set back down on top of the entrance to the cave. Made absolutely no sense. And we were like scratching around the base of the boulder and stuff to see, there's nothing. It was like it never happened, like it was all just made up. It wasn't mistaken identity, it wasn't the wrong set of boulders. Because they were the only two big boulders.
Yeah.
Well, they're the only two big boulders right there. There were smaller lava boulders laying around here and there. But those are the only two big ones like that, really distinct, that stuck out. They were gone. I mean, the hole was covered up. It was really strange. And I remember my cousin, you know, he was convinced there was Spanish gold down in there. The Spanish hid their treasure in there before they fled back to Mexico. Weird things have happened. I mean, you can look it up. Look up Victoria Peak treasure in southern New Mexico. Similar story where a hunter found this huge case of Spanish gold, and then immediately the military annexed the area, and it got fought out in courts and stuff. And you know, years and years and years later, he finally wins his court case, goes back, all the gold is gone.
Yep.
But there's a bunch of military sea ration cans laying around.
Go figure.
So, but that's a different story. Look it up. It's called Victoria Peak. There's probably some stuff on YouTube about that.
More than likely.
But my incident with that cave made no sense at all.
That's
I mean,
definitely
that boulder, I don't know how that boulder moved. I mean, you know, if it was near a road or anything like that, and you could get a bulldozer up there, a couple of bulldozers, and scoot stuff around, why? But you could clearly tell that, you know, the soil would be all messed up and trees would be knocked over. There was nothing. There was no tracks. This is, you know, at a higher elevation, a long miles and miles away from the nearest road. I don't know. I don't get it.
That's definitely a weird one, honestly.
But I thought of that last night. I'm like, wow, I'm surprised I've never told that story, because that was very interesting.
I've never heard that story before.
No,
that's a new one to me too.
Yeah. Also, that area by the Las Lunas Hill, just directly, this cave system that I found and lost was on the west side of the hill. And directly to the west of there is a place called Pottery Hill, which was excavated many times, and for some reason tribes as far away as South Central America came all the way out here for ceremonies, and they busted up all their pottery. And directly next to that is Inscription Rock, which is another place that was discovered, where they found ancient writing, a petroglyph with ancient writing on it, which I don't think was ever deciphered. I think they thought it might have been Phoenician or some ancient language. They don't even know it. I haven't looked it up. I should have researched it a bit, but look it up yourself. It's called Inscription Rock, or there's another name for it. All of that is in almost the same area. So
there's a lot going on in that little area.
yeah, pretty cool. Pretty cool. So oddly enough, there's not a whole lot of information on the Las Lunas Hill. It's weird. I tried to look it up a little bit just now, see if anybody's ever found any cave systems or something. Searching on the internet for Las Lunas Hill doesn't give you a whole lot of information. It gives you a bunch of pictures of it, and it talks a lot about Las Lunas. But I find it really strange. Nobody really talks about that hill. There's a lot of ancient artifacts on that hill. You know, when we were kids, we used to go up there to shoot, and we'd pick up pottery shards.
That's cool.
And I showed some of the pottery shards to a friend of mine, and he dated that stuff back 800 to 1500 years.
That's crazy.
Anasazi stuff. And back then, kids, man, you pick up anything. Now, of course, it's illegal to pick up anything. But back then, you picked it up and brought it home, put it on a shelf.
That was just normal.
Yeah, that's what we did. So anyway, I hope you enjoyed this short little story. We're going to try to do a little more videos unless she gets deployed to vodka drinking territory.
You don't want to jinx it. Knock on wood. Knock on wood.
There's also other things we're planning on doing this year, so it's a new start. And
with COVID bearing down a little bit, calming down, hopefully we'll have more time and it'll be a little bit easier to do stuff.
Yep. And remember, like and subscribe, share these videos. Let's make them grow. Also check us out on TikTok. I put little funny videos on TikTok, and not so much about this, but just other stuff. It's also under IDK Paranormal. And it's good to be back.
It's good to be back.
All right. Anything else you got to say?
No, nothing per usual.
All right. See you later. Bye.
Bye.